So if you haven't seen the video where I talk about the walk to P3 with the audio cue, make sure you check that out. Just make sure you know the audio cue for breaking the boulder, because we're using that audio cue boulder break to get across the raft spot here. And that's always going to set us up with the back spawn. So this is the walk from the raft spot, or from North Palace really, to the river monster. And if we get a good enough spawn, we can actually take the enemies that we get at the river monster and take it into an encounter skip on the first bridge. And we can save a fairy spell. It's really not mandatory. You have 3 fairies to get through these bridges. But if you're someone who doesn't like fairy feeding, you'll be able to skip one of the bridges with this encounter skip. And only have to ferry through 2 bridges. And also, it's nice to get this first encounter skip because it saves you the fairy spell, which means you have room for error on 1 fairy feat on the next 2 fences. So the first thing that I'm doing after I come off, this is going to be a back spawn no matter what. I'm going to line myself up with the mountain up here. In general, I'll just say, like, when you are trying to figure out walks in this game, use the environment around you to line yourself up with positions so that you can always consistently do the same thing. If you're consistently using the same movements to dodge encounters, you're going to become more familiar with their timings on when they spawn, and you're going to experience a more finite amount of encounter patterns so that you know what to do when you see them again. So I'm taking this path, lining myself up with the indentation here, going straight down. I'm going to stop at the forest, and then I'm going to go right and then stop. And then I'm going to see what this encounter is doing. This could be anything. This could be a front spawn. It could be a back spawn, blah, blah, blah. It could be literally anything. And so that's why I'm stopping and kind of looking at it. There's going to be some that just kind of get you. And you're going to just have to go into practice and figure out which ones you can kind of avoid and like how to avoid them. If you have to take extra steps up and over them to avoid them, it's probably not worth it because we're going to see another encounter later and they're going to be in your way. You're just going to waste time dodging in the first place. So if you get an encounter here, it's okay, just keep going. But do not go out of your way to dodge it. If you're going to dodge it, try to go under them. So this is a very easy one to dodge under. The rest are going to take some like waiting and finagling and stuff. This one, I'm waiting, I'm going down. And then as soon as I get over here, you got to blow the flute pretty fast because we're going to get a spawn that happens a bit earlier than us reaching the river monster. Now, this could be a back spawn here. If it is, we're not going to worry about the back spawn. We're just going to blow the flute and go straight into the first fence. If it's a back spawn, you're likely not going to get a river or a skip on this first fixed encounter. It's just really, these are going to random walk. They're not going to come towards you. Just go. Don't waste your time. Now, if they're here, we can actually slink this one and kind of do what is similar to the all keys river monster skip from Firetown. These are also kind of random walking, but because since we up-A'd at the start of the game, our global timer gives us some control over how we know these encounters are going to work. They're going to random walk, but they're going to random walk the same way every time. So I blow the flute. I pause here. I paused a little early. I can tell because this encounter is only just over past halfway on the next tile here, onto this little desert tile. And if it's just 1 or 2 pixels higher, I can dodge down immediately. Because it's not, I'm gonna hold down a little bit late. You'll just have to watch my inputs here through the input viewer. You'll notice I paused and then hit down afterwards. It's because I wanted to wait a couple frames before I moved down and dodge that. It's not really worth it to try to frame pause in this game. It's really difficult because it's very snappy. There's no buffering in terms of inputs. You're just like, as soon as you hit start, the game pauses. As soon as you hit start again, it unpauses. Very hard to do like 1 frame pauses. So I am just going to time my down input just after the start has occurred. So you'll see 1, 2 frames after I hit the down input. So obviously I'm not counting in my head 2 frames. I'm actually just trying to time this. And yeah. You'll notice the encounter went down again. and then comes right. That's why I waited just a little bit before going down. It's not going to come straight into you because it's random walking, you know. And yeah, that's how you do this walk off the raft. And then the rest you're going to just ferry feet, or you're going to just use the ferry to get straight through them.